What's going on, everyone? It's Twist here. Welcome back to another video. So today we're going to do a critical ops weapon or gun tier list. I did a similar video for the critical ops maps a while ago, and you guys really enjoyed it. Like, it didn't get like a lot of views or something, but you guys did enjoy, the ones who did watch, so I thought I'd do the same for guns. And the only thing that I have to say before I start with this tier list is that this is a tier list of ranked weapons. So it's not like, in TDM, probably the auto sniper is going to be one of the best weapons, but obviously it doesn't make sense in ranked because it costs a lot, etc, etc. So this is purely for ranked and for the views. Basically for game modes where you actually need to get money to buy weapons. Now, before I start, I guess shout out to this guy, follow Just Jingo on Twitter because he's the one who made this tier list. I did not make this one. But without further ado, let's start. I'll just go from pistols, down towards all the other weapons. So let's start with the P250A. Now the P250 is quite a good weapon, The thing is, like, obviously it's like the worst weapon in the game if you look at the damage and stuff like that, but it's one of the better options in pistol rounds to buy Kevlar and stay with the P250, and it's the only pistol which you can get Kevlar with in the pistol round. So I'd say that the P250 is probably C tier, just because, it's not that good, but it is a good option for pistol rounds to just buy Kevlar. So because of that, it goes in the C tier. Now the next one is probably the XD45. Now this pistol actually gets like a lot of hate for some reason. I don't know why, but people just hate the gun. They think it's like really bad, and to be honest, it kind of is. Like, the XD45 is literally like a P250 on steroids. Like, it's pretty much like P250, but it has higher fire rate and a bit bigger magazine. So those are the only changes. I also think that a P250 that deals a bit more damage in long to medium ranges. I'm not sure, and it's a bit easier to control. You just tap it in long to medium ranges. While the XD45, you can also tap it, but then it kind of takes away the point of it having a high fire rate. So I'd put the XD45 in the D tier. It's not the absolutely worst gun. The thing is, you can buy XD45 and also a grenade or smoke or flash in the pistol round, so it's not like the worst decision ever, but it's definitely not the best one. Then we have the GSR 1911. To be honest, I kind of feel like it's D tier as well. It used to be way better, but now after the updates, there are just way better pistol options than the GSR. You know what? Let's actually put it same tier, same category as P250. Now let's do it like this. I'm retracting my tier list, but let's do it like this. Like the P250, just because the P250 is very viable in pistol rounds, I'd say the second best option to buy in pistol rounds, or even sometimes the best if you're going to play close range. I'm going to put it in B. GSR in C because it's an okay pistol, but there's better options, and then XD45 unfortunately in D. Even though I like XD45, like a lot of people hate on it, I don't. I just wanted to get a bit of a buff. Alright, then we move on to the revolver. Now, the revolver used to be a really, really good weapon. Like, a lot of people used to play it. The revolver is basically the OG deagle, like pretty much everyone used the revolver as the deagle. But because it got nerfed, there's slower fire rate, it costs a bit less, but you need 3 shots in body to actually kill someone. Meanwhile, the deagle only needs 2. So, because of that, I'm gonna put the revolver in the this is a hard one. Okay, I'll put it in the D tier. If there was no deagle, I'd put it in the C tier, but because there is deagle, then the revolver kind of becomes useless. Now, we move on to the deagle, the OP weapon. Now, I kind of feel like I have to put this either S or A tier, but because it's a pistol, I kind of have to put it in A tier. Now, it is very, very overpowered. Like, for $700, you pretty much get like a pocket AVP. Literally, just 2 shots in the body, you can spam it so quickly, and you get the kill. I even think you get the kill if the opponent has like full health and Kevlar, even in long range. So I do feel like the deagle is kind of too overpowered as of now in the new meta. I might actually do like Special Ops, Road to Special Ops Deagle only series, because it is really, really good. And especially for the price point, like for $700, you pretty much get a weapon that sometimes is better than a rifle. So yeah, I do feel like it's A tier. Now, I'm not going to put it in S tier just because it's not like that OP, it's not the weapon that you'd buy every single round if you had the cash to buy other ones. So the S tier is reserved for like the absolutely best overpowered weapons. But I think the deagle deserves the A tier. The only thing that's kind of bad with the deagle is that you have to learn the recoil pattern, and it could be a bit hard, especially if you're playing on kind of low-end device to kind of control it, on small screen on low FPS. So that why it's in the A tier. And then we have the dualies. Now the dualies just go in the D tier. I also like the dualies the same way I do like the XD45, but unfortunately I don't think they're that viable. They have come back in waves, you know, they do come back sometimes. We see some players, especially in circuit, play with them in the pistol round. So yeah, actually I'm gonna put it in C. Your boy Twist is just never decisive, but yeah, I do think that the dualies are kind of equal to the GSR. Like, it's not a bad weapon, but there's always like better choices, I'd say, than the dualies, especially for that price point. Like, pretty much with all the pistols, you can just buy a Deagle. Like, just buy a Deagle, bro. And if you want extra health, you can buy Kevlar and stay with the P250. So that's kind of why the pistol ranking is the way it is. Alright, let's move on to the SMGs, I guess. Now let's start with the MP5. Now the MP5 is straight up garbage, bro. It's garbo. It is very garbo. Very slow fire rate, costs $500 more than the Deagle. Is only really good in close range and is worse than a shotgun in close range, so pretty much everything is just against the MP5. It has never really been good, and I think it's just not a good weapon at all. I never buy it. It's a shame because I have some nice skins on the MP5, but it's not really good. Now the MPX is like very, very average. For that, I'll put it in the C tier. Like, it's not really that special as an SMG. You know, it costs like $1,500, I think, and you can do stuff with it. Like, you can get frags, you know, like medium to close range, but it's not really that good. And there's, I feel like, always better options than the MPX. So there's definitely like times and places where you can use it, but it's really limited, and I don't think it has really anything special. It's definitely better than the MP5, but nothing special. If there's a nothing special, let's call this one nothing special. That's a new tier. Don't buy. No, I'm just renaming the tiers as we go. Yeah, but just nothing special. Alright, let's move on to the MP7. Now the MP7, I think this is the best SMG, not in terms of like overall damage, but in terms of price point compared to kind of the damage and just the damage output that you can get. I feel like the MP7 is definitely like B tier. It's not A tier because there aren't really any SMGs, I'd say, that are A tier. Like, most of the SMGs are kind of B tier. Highest is good, man, is good. It's good. It's good. You can use it, especially if you don't have the side to buy the Vector. I think you can only buy the Vector on the breach side. So if you're on the Coalition side and you want to buy an SMG, you know, you want to play somewhere kind of close to medium range, or you know you're going to have to take a lot of gunfights one after another, I'd say the MP7 is a viable option. Anything else, not really that good. So let's put it in is good, man. Let's move on to the I think it's Vector. I think the next one is Vector and the last one is going to be P90. So Vector, $2,000, or I'm not even sure. I think it's $2,000. Now, it is really nice. Like, with the Vector, you can pretty much just run and gun spray everyone down. You know, it's crazy what you can sometimes do with the Vector. The problem is the price point. It's kind of steep. For $200 less, you can get an SA58, and for the same price, you can get the SA58 in the Flash. So I do think that it's not the best option. We're gonna move on to the SA58 soon. Like that's a whole nother chapter. But I do feel like the Vector, you know, it's good, but it's not really anything special. And I like it. To be honest, I like it, but I think it's, you know, it's good, man. It's good. You can buy it. You can get kill, but nothing too special. And especially in competitive, like, the Vector doesn't really get used a lot, and it's only because of that price point. Like, the weapon is actually really nice to use. Every time I buy a Vector, it's like it's nice to play with it. I enjoy it, but, you know, once again, you got to look at what really works out economy and you know, cash wise as well. All right, and then the last one, P90. Now, if you just look at the stats, all right, the P90 is absolutely insane, especially in close to medium ranges. You have 50 bullets, you have fast fire rate, you have pre-high damage, pre-high armor penetration. Like, you can do a lot with the P90, but the problem is the price, and the price really drags this weapon down like at least 2 tiers, because it's really good, as I said, in those close to medium range engagements, but because of the price, like, nobody ever buys the P90 because, you know, the next best choice is the Vector. I'd say the Vector is like better than P90 because it costs a little bit less, and you can also kind of be more accurate when you run and gun with it. And just in general, you know, for, as I said, $400 less, you can get an SA58, which is like really good. So let's put the P90 in the nothing special tier. Now, the SA58, this is OP, overpowered. The SA-58 costs less than 2k, it costs less than some SMGs, and for the price you pretty much get a full-fledged rifle. Yes, it is burst, yes, there's only, if you don't get the first burst, if you don't kill someone with the first spray, with the first burst, there's a high chance you're gonna go down, but for the price, most of the time, if you're headshot level and if you get the first spray kind of chest head level, you will get the kill, and you can actually do like a lot of damage with this weapon. Maybe not as much as with the AUG, or let's say the bro, my brain just farted. Let's say the SG, but it's still a good weapon. So yeah, and definitely for the price, like if you want a rifle and you only have like 2.6k, you can literally get SA-58 and Kevlar, which is crazy. Literally for the same price as an AK, you can get a rifle and Kevlar, which really means a lot, because if you don't have Kevlar, you're gonna flinch, your aim is gonna like move like this when someone shoots you, so Kevlar is always something that you need to buy. Now the next weapon I think is, in terms of prices, yeah, it is the AK. Now the AK, it's my favorite weapon in Critical Ops by far. I've been, known for using the AK always, but as of late, since the AUG and SG update, like the AK isn't really that good. It would have used to be S tier for me. Like it's honestly just a very versatile weapon. You can use it long range, close range, medium range, has fast fire rate. If you learn recoil, you're pretty much shooting in a straight line. But because of how the kind of new meta works and because of how overpowered SG and AUG is, I'll put the AK-47 in is good. Now, people will argue that I should have put it in overpowered, but I don't think that it's overpowered. If it cost less, it would be overpowered, but now it's just like, it's a decent rifle, but I do feel like the SA-58 is more overpowered in terms of not, how much damage you can get with it, but more like how cheap it is and how viable it is to buy it, how good of a decision it is to buy this weapon, especially if you're low on cash. So the AK-47 goes in his good tier. It breaks my heart because the AK-47 is my favorite rifle still, but it's not really, I just never buy the AK-47 nowadays. Pretty much I just buy SG if I have the money for it, and if I don't, I might actually just buy SA-58 with Kevlar and nades. So the price point really ruins the AK-47 nowadays, I'd say. Alright, next one, M4. Wait, is this? No, this is HK, so this one, M4. I think it's even worse than the AK. This spray is kind of hard to control nowadays. It used to be just a straight line, now it's kind of weird, and the damage isn't the highest, so I'd say it's one tier lower than the AK-47. It's nothing special, you can buy it, but once again, like, if this was purely based on like how good the weapon is, like how much damage you can get, how easy it is to kill, it would be like this: AK, M4, SA-58. It would be like this. But because we have to factor in the prices as well, we have to put it like this, because the M4 really, it costs so much. For the same price you can get SA-58 with full Kevlar and a flash, and it's not really that good, like you can use it, but people will always opt for the AUG. Like if you have $400 more, you'll always buy the AUG pretty much, and if you don't have $400 more, then going for the SA-58 with Kevlar might even be a better option, because you also save a bit of money. Alright, the next one is SG. Now this one is just GOAT. This one is GOATed, bro. GOATed. It's greatest of all time, Ed. Pretty much. Like, it's a really good weapon. Like on the breach side, there is no better weapon than the SG, I'd say. Obviously, if you're a Euratio player, then the Euratio would be better for you. But other than that, if you play with a rifle, pretty much the SG is always going to be the best. Really high damage, way higher than the AK, I think. A bit of slower fire rate than the AK, but not really recoil that is hard to control. So I do feel like the GOATed tier belongs to the SG. Or the other way around, the SG belongs to the GOATed tier. Now the same with AUG, not really much can be said. Silenced as well, so people don't see you on the minimap when you shoot it. Really good and really like any kind of engagements. Better than the P90 in close range, that really says a lot. One shot to the head, just everything is perfect with this weapon. So I'd put both. I'd say they're pretty similar. If I had to choose, I enjoy the AUG more just because it has a bit higher fire rate, and I just like the sound more. I like the silence sound more. But pretty much both of these are just insane weapons to use right now. If you have the cash for it. Oh, we forgot the HK. No, my favorite weapon always gets left out. The HK is good, man. It's good. It's like the AK. It's like the AK with slower fire rate, higher damage. But if you look, in terms of damage per second or damage per minute, it kind of equals out to the same. So I'd say these two are kind of equal. Yes, it's a bit more expensive, but it's not really much. And sometimes you can't really afford an SG and AUG with Kevlar, and the money kind of works in a way where you can then afford an HK because it's like $100 or $300 less, depending on which one of these you want to pick. So the HK goes in is good, man. All right, then we move on to the Winchester. Now, I just have to say, like, nothing special. Like, there really isn't anything special about this weapon. It's decent. It doesn't really give you much. You can buy it and camp close range and try to get someone, but really nothing special. Also, slow reload time. Yeah, I don't really like it. And only 5 bullets, 5 shotgun slugs, so doesn't really do much. The same can be said for the FP6. It's alright. Sometimes it's viable. Especially if you lost the pistol round on the collision side, you can buy it, camp close range, but I wouldn't really put it in the is good tier, just because, as I said again, the Deagle is just always a better option if you're that low on cash. And I kind of want to put it in is good, but because you do miss your like sometimes you're literally on someone close range, you get like the full slug in their body, and they don't die, and they're like 5 HP. I have to put it in nothing special. If they fix the fact that, in close range you sometimes don't get a frag, even though like all the bullets are on the person, then I'd put it in is good. The Winchester is like a worse version of the FP6, I'd say, pretty much. Alright, then we have the auto shotty, which is just don't buy. Like, it used to be really overpowered and they nerfed it to oblivion. For the price, like, it's not the worst weapon, but for the price, bro, there's so many better options. Like, literally just the SA-58 with Kevlar is a better option if you don't want to go for like AK or, Vector, or even Vector. Like, everything pretty much nowadays is better than the Super 90. I wouldn't put it exactly in Garbo because there are some like situations where that would be the best choice, but Garbo tier is basically like any situation, any place, any map you can think of. This is the worst choice. This is not going to be the best choice in any position, any map whatsoever. Super 90 could work. I could see it working in some very specific, some very, very specific, areas. Alright, then we move on to this ratios, to the, twist, that's not correct, to the snipers. The TRG, I really hate that this is like a weapon that's like underutilized, because the scout is really overpowered in CSGO, and, well, not really overpowered, but it's like a viable option, and I'd love to see the TRG getting used more, but unfortunately with the way that it is made for this game, it just doesn't really work out, so I'd put it in the don't buy. Again, for 2.2k, there's so many better options, bro. Like, you can buy so much, like, you can buy Deagle with Kevlar and full nades, and it takes like 2 Deagle spams close range, but with a TRG you have to like literally flick on someone's head to get the frag, and if you shoot him in the body, you're pretty much dead if you can't take cover. So yeah, just don't buy. Obviously, there are places where you can use it, like let's say canals. You lost the pistol round, you buy a TRG, you kind of hold cross. There are definitely some very long range areas where you could use it, but at the end of the day, just don't buy it. Now the ratio, this is goated, bro. Like, these 3 weapons are really the meta right now. Like, especially in today's meta where jump shotting is like so OP, you can literally peek corners while you're scoped in and jumping, and pretty much hit your shot almost every time, because the jumping accuracy with the ratio is pretty insane. I think they need to kind of patch it, because it's really annoying when someone just jump peeks you around the corner and like instantly shoots you. But yeah, it's goated. Like, there's not really much explaining to do. And now both auto snipers, I feel like they're pretty much the same. Nobody ever really buys them unless the grief, so I'll just put them both and don't buy. They're just not really good. That there are maybe some uses, but at the end of the day, nobody really ever buys them, and there's a reason for that, because they're not good. Alright guys, hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like please. Now subscribe if you're new around here. If you have different opinions about this tier list, which a lot of you will, then put them in the comment section. And yeah, that's gonna be pretty much it for today. Leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.